Hi, this is James Law from Buildor. We just wanted to show you some of the basic functionality around Buildor and what exactly it is. Now, Buildor is the first browser-based web design and development environment that allows you, as a professional designer or developer, to use the browser as the environment in which to build your content. So what we have is all the usual things you'd expect from a program like Coda or Espresso, with one window development environment, but with the ability to make what you might call the design window or the view area. Everything becomes contextual, so when you click on it, you can edit it. So I can use Buildor to hand code content as you would do normally, just by using the HTML view over here. You can type in your code exactly the same way that you would do normally, and it all behaves in a very familiar fashion. As you type, everything is updated. It all happens in real time. And as I said, because this area is contextual, I can click on it and I can bring up my CSS control panel to then start styling the content. If I wanted, for example, to increase the margin on this div here, I could just type in a different value there. Same goes for the padding. I can change the border color. I can do whatever I like. And this is, like I say, a bit like the Coda or Espresso CSS design tool. And when we've created these styles, which are currently inline, we can move them to the style sheet that we're working with. We can give them a new name. So let's just call this something. Choose the style sheet that you're working with. Click go, and that's all been updated. So using Buildor as an environment to create content from scratch, it's very powerful. It's an incredibly quick way of working. But one of the really cool things that we can do is that if we're working with existing content that you've created that currently lives online, you can load that content directly into BuildorPro and start changing the layout. So you can use it as a very powerful way of managing your existing content. So if we take this example of a download squad page, now this isn't a live page off of the download squad servers. They have a very dynamic content delivery system on their setup, and BuildorPro is only interested in markup, HTML and CSS. Now, some websites that are very dynamic will load fine. Try loading Twitter, for example, it loads with no problem, but others don't, and this is an example of one that doesn't, and it just depends on how the page is set up. So if you imagine, though, when the designer was building this content, building the new look download squad, they would have started with some templates, some layouts that were just pretty much HTML and CSS driven. So we've kind of taken that example here, we've gone back to just the HTML and CSS, which then allows us to use Buildor to edit the content. So if I take the URL for this page, back into Buildor, then using File, Edit Page from Web, I can plug the URL in there, hit Go, hit Get Page, and the time that it takes to load, everything again in this page is now contextually linked to the application. So if I open the footer here, and then turn on the Code View Show Body, we can see, just turn the inspector on, we have a built-in content inspector. This is all now contextual. I can treat it as content that I can now edit exactly how I like. So with the HTML view open, I can just inspect the piece of content and then start editing it very quickly to create this new custom layout for a blog post about the new Firefox launch, which is something that the download squad have already done, but we're going to show how you can build something really quickly that's a completely new layout with content that you already have. So I know that the body of this article starts here, and I can just take that entire section all the way down to the bottom and delete it, which then gives me a completely fresh sort of blank template to start with. If we come over to the article that's on the download squad about the Firefox launch, I can just literally grab that piece of copy here, the headline, copy it, take it back into Buildor, and paste it into the section, the area that we've got there. Now that's put it in with no styles on it at all. I can just grab that piece of text and I can give it an H1 tag, just like this, which is picking up the H1 tag from the style sheet that we already have. So if we go into show styles, you can see that there's an H1 tag here. So that's setting the margin on that at the moment. If I wanted to, I could change, for example, the color to red or whatever. So you've got complete access to all your CSS, you've got complete control over all this stuff. Now let's just put some space around what's going on here so it's a bit easier to see what's going on. So I'm going to come down to the footer, put a top margin something a bit bigger, and then what we're going to do is drop the byline in as well. Back into Code View Show Body and place that piece of copy there. Now again, that's giving it no styles, so I'm just going to highlight. That's actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap a p tag around that in the HTML area. Now if I click on that, using the apply class option, I can say, right, this is the byline class. That's added that to there nicely, and we're all good to go. So what we want to do here next is just create two columns in this new area to allow us to put this Firefox screen grab into the page and then add some content to the right hand side of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in some divs here. Let's call that left so we can see it, and then another one which we will call right. And then again, using the control panel, I can float the left one left, and I can float the right one right. Oops, right. And that gives us the opportunity to put our content into the right place. We'll adjust the widths and stuff on these in a second to make it all work, but let's just go back to this image. Now, because this is already online, it's on one of our servers, all I need to do is go copy image location, just to grab the URL of it, and I can use the insert image function. Just copy and paste, so just paste the URL into there. It gives us a preview of the image, hit insert, and that's now nicely in there. Now let's find out the width of that. It's got a 665 width on there, so if I make that div as well 665, and then we should make this div here, let's click on it and do it this way, 300 for example. And then we can put a margin on the top there, bring that down, and then we can start putting some content in there. So if we make this an H2 tag, just by highlighting it and selecting heading 2 on there, I can now start to style this area of content quite nicely. So let's just go into all styles and font, and let's do the font size on that. Let's make it 20. Okay, and I can sort out the padding on that, so if we just make that 0, it's going to look a lot better. So let's give that, a sample headline here, and then we can put some content in underneath it to show what this might look like. So if I put a p tag in there, let's just go and grab some lorem ipsum. Drop into there, close the p tag. Let's put some proper breaks in there. It's probably going to be too much copy. That's about right. Just turn the spell check off there. Okay, so if we go back into preview, obviously we could go on like this for forever, but that gives you a very good quick example of how we can take your existing layouts, load them into Buildor, have all your style sheets preloaded, and then you've got complete control over creating really cool new layouts. You might want to check some of the other videos over at BuildorPro.com where we talk about creating mock-ups really quickly, and there's much longer tutorials around this kind of thing. You can sign up for the beta via the download squad if you're one of the first 300. If so, we look forward to seeing you in there and hope you enjoy Buildor. Cheers.